Hey guys, this is Jim of Fallen Monarch, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my rig that I use for live shows. So during the pandemic, I was looking at getting a bunch of new gear because I had not been playing bass for some time and needed to do some updates, and landed on this combination. I had watched a video from the band Allegiant during the pandemic where the bassist from the band was using a Nolly Dingwall bass guitar with a Microtubes head. So based on that combination, I loved the way that it sounded so much that I knew that those are the components that I wanted to specifically get for my sound. So here is the version 1 Darkglass Microtubes head. I used to go into the front and use the Microtubes. Recently, I've changed to going direct because I updated my pedal system, and now I'm using that for my primary sound. So I actually bypass all of this and just use it to power the cab now, and I actually go in direct to the back. So none of the stuff on the front I use anymore. It's just merely to power the cab. The cab is a Mesa Boogie Powerhouse, and I ordered it from a guitar shop in Florida because I don't think they make them anymore. They may, can prove me wrong. I like it because it has 4x10 cones and then has a 115 in the center. So you're getting the mix of all the cones for just a fuller sound. This cab has also got nice utility because it has casters on the back as well as handles here. So you can kick it up like a dolly and roll it around, which makes it very convenient for travel, even though it is bulky and heavy. And there's some settings on the back of this as well for if you want like a brighter tone or a darker tone. I leave those at a standard setting. Don't really mess with that. And it is can do 2 or 4 ohm setting, which works nice with the Darkglass Microtubes head. So yeah, pretty simple now. Not utilizing any of the settings here, so it's just kind of a powered head in cab. So here is my pedal board, or pedal, I should say, that does all the heavy lifting for my bass tone and sound. I had heard of the Anagram, which was a recent pedal Darkglass released, I think within the last year or so. Very, very, very versatile pedal. It's a one-stop shop for having a pedal chain. So this one pedal allows you to modify pedal chains, and it has sims for every pedal you could possibly want. So there's EQ pedals and noise gates and fuzz and overdrive and cab sims. It's a one-stop shop for literally anything you could possibly want to do with your sound. I think his name is Jacob. I believe it's the bass player from Intervals, I think. Don't quote me on that. Could be very, very wrong. But he's a Dingwall artist at this point, and there was a YouTube video I watched where breaks down kind of the his general setup. And I've had to play with some of the settings, but the way that I have this set up is similar to how you would do a recording for, like an actual recording for having your music be produced. So on this, I take my signal and actually split the high and low. So what you're seeing here is the highs, and the lows are actually split out and on a second layer that I'll show later. But here I've isolated the mids and highs and have applied one of the Darkglass, I think it's an anagram sim that has bite and growl and really gives a very beefy low end sound. with a lot of impact, but then also a lot of like really bright high end. So you get a very deep, full, low bass sound, and you're in that low register, but then it has a lot of high kind of metallic sound, which is great for when you're playing higher notes. It really gives the bass a voice that speaks through the entire mix of the band. So it doesn't sound like it's a background instrument. It really is in the forefront, similar to the guitars, and it's kind of sitting in its own space. I really love that and have been trying to simulate that with my setup for a very long time. And after some tweaking and conversations and following tutorials and subreddits, finally got to the point of the specific sound that I go for in Fallen Monarch, which is, I mean, essentially a deathcore bass tone, which you've heard in, so many other bands, as Blood Runs Black, and many others that I could name that I'm not thinking of at the moment. Love this pedal. It was an investment, but this is all I need. And Darkglass has a community where you can save your pedal board setup. So in this case, I've named it for Fallen Monarch. So I could go to their website and I could share this pedal chain, and people could download it and use the Fallen Monarch bass tone pedal chain, which I think is pretty sick. So this bass probably needs no introduction. I think many people are aware of it, but this is a NG3 Nolly Getgood Signature Series bass guitar. I purchased it from the Axe Palace in Walpole. Great shop if you're looking for a nice higher end guitar or bass. This does everything I want. Again, huge Darkglass fan. All my stuff has some kind of attachment to Darkglass except for my cab. It has 3 pickups and a switcher that can give you different isolated pickups. So you can do the low pickup, the high pickup, low and high, or all 3. Gives you a little bit of different definition in your tone, which is nice to play around with. I usually will do either the bridge or all 3, depending. It's got a toggle switch for enabling, disabling. Really nice on the fly. I always keep it enabled, so it doesn't matter. But it's there. Your EQ settings, you got your lows, your mids, your highs that you can play with on stage. I usually do a 3 on the low, a 3 on the high, and usually keep the mid either 0 or scoop it a little bit, just to kind of get a more boosted low and high, again, for that kind of deathcore metallic sound. And then the volume knob, which is always maxed out. Bass has fan frets, does make it a little more ergonomic to play. It is an extended scale neck, so I believe it's 39 inches. It's definitely the longest scale instrument that I've played, but that length gives it helps the lower end notes sustain more and sound good and keep it in tune. Whereas if you had something that wasn't a standard scale and you are playing with it and in like a detuned, because we play drop A, and so the lower string can be really floppy, but because of the way the ding wall is designed, it's kind of made for that. So fun to play, best bass I've ever owned. Getting some wear on the frets up here, kind of in the area that I play quite a bit. Just again, primary bass played a lot. But yeah, I believe the strings on here are an extended scale Dunlop string. They have just a nice brightness to them. There aren't a ton of, based on what I've seen, extended scale strings to choose from. This one seems to be kind of the all-around best that I've used so far. I haven't really played around with going heavier or lighter on string gauge, but I haven't really messed with it because it's doing a good job on its own, so I haven't wanted to kind of mess around with it. Yeah, one other feature I think is really nice and handy about this particular instrument is on the back here is you got your batteries, and it's a magnetic plate. So you just pull that off to get access to your batteries and replace them and snap it back on. So no screws that you have to deal with. Makes swapping out batteries a breeze. So if your batteries are dead at a show, you can just pop them out and pop in new batteries. Yeah, highly recommend this bass. Very, very good.